The CEO of startup New Quantum says the UK is emerging as a world leader in rapidly evolving quantum computing technology, but continued government support is essential if the nation wants to produce the industry's first version of Microsoft or NVIDIA. New Quantum's founder and CEO Carmen Palacios-Berraquero joins me now for an exclusive conversation. Thanks, Carmen, so much for joining us in the studio. That's some ambition there for the UK. We can have our own quantum computing in the size and scale of a Microsoft or NVIDIA. We're a long way from that right now. Tell us about what New Quantum does, though, and what the potential economic impacts of quantum computing could be.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I spun out New Quantum about 5 years ago out of one of the world's best quantum networking groups at the University of Cambridge. And we've been developing the quantum networking infrastructure required to massively scale up quantum computers. So we're bringing about a similar moment that happened in classical. So we had mainframes and single computers, and then suddenly we had the power to interconnect them and build things like the cloud, which brought about massive economic value. And the cloud is as much about those computing chips as about the networking layer and the orchestration at the data center level. So that's what New Quantum is building to scale up computers.
Yeah, and it's the networking that you guys really specialize in. Give us a sense of the time frame. There's been a lot of talk about quantum computing and the potential implications. How far away are we, do you think, from having a fault-free quantum computer at scale, at size? Because these are more volatile machines. This is more volatile technology.
Correct. Quantum computers are hard to build, they're noisy. And first, I would like to debunk this myth that quantum computers are always 10 years away. The industry is barely 10 years old. Most startups actually were founded in 2017 and 2018. And in the past 6 years, we've made huge progress deploying small systems in data centers, getting to hundreds of qubits. And now we're in this shift, this scale-up moment for the industry, where now, for the first time, we have a roadmap to that commercially disruptive computer, and roadmaps point to around 2033, 2034 for that moment. And that computer will revolutionize many industries. For example, it will make cybersecurity systems, as we know them today, vulnerable to quantum computers.
Okay, so 2033, 2034 is potentially the time frame that we're looking at, and you touched on some of the sectors that could benefit from this technology. Talk to us about the UK's role. We had an introduction to this segment that the UK is well positioned. What has gotten us there? What more do you need to see within your sector to continue to keep the UK ahead, or at least on the front foot when it comes to this?
Yes, so the UK is today a world leader on quantum on many metrics, so number of startups, funding, number of patents. It's consistently top 3, and the reason is that we have a very good scientific basis. A lot of quantum science was developed in the UK. This is why people like me came to the UK to join that. And crucially, the government has had great strategy, pioneering strategy. So 12 years ago, the government announced a first 10-year quantum strategy with £1 billion behind. Actually, most countries in the world have followed through and based their own strategies on the UK strategy. The UK renewed that last year, and they announced another 10-year quantum strategy.
Is talent a challenge? I'm just thinking, Brexit. You obviously came here from overseas. You're not from the UK. That talent, that overseas talent. This government has talked about restricting student visas from some countries like China. Is that a potential roadblock for this industry?
For a really fast-growing industry, talent is one of the key risks, and the UK attracts top talent. But of course, issues like visas and certain geopolitical restrictions continue to make that a bigger risk than it was before.
Talk to us about the funding environment. You guys raised, what, £8.5 million last year. How willing are investors to get behind this kind of project in this sector, particularly as AI draws a lot of the attention? Is AI sucking away a lot of the funding? Are you missing out? Is there a bit of a drought because of this obsession with all things AI?
Well, in the UK, we've got great deep tech investors. Some of them have invested in New Quantum, and there have been billions invested in the quantum industry. And even with the downturn in investment in tech in 2023, quantum investment actually held up. So there are still large funding rounds in quantum, and we must make sure that they continue for the long term.
Okay, so AI is not crowding this out yet?
Not yet.